From the mountains of Allegheny County to the eastern shore of Virginia, no small town or city, no individual or group is immune from the dangers of the drug epidemic plaguing our state. It is leaving a trail of destruction and death, and in its wake, more and more grieving people are left with nothing more than an image of loved ones gone too soon. Caitlin Sterling is one such person who never had a second chance. On the surface, the eastern shore seems secluded and far removed from any kind of drug problem. This is, after all, a tranquil place surrounded by beautiful beaches and small-knit communities. But the outward appearance never tells the whole story.
I was speaking to someone where I work at on Chickadeg, and she was just not believing the things I was telling her. She did not believe drugs, heroin has made its way over Chickadeg. Yes, it has. Every corner, every street, every neighborhood where you least expect it, you know, it's there.
Unfortunately, heroin would eventually make its way into Caitlin's life as well.
Caitlin was born in 1996. Her father and I were together for some time, but I ended up leaving him due to the issues that he had as far as alcoholism. And it just basically spiraled into, you know, abusive relationship, so I didn't want that for Caitlin. So I ended up moving into my mother's, and we lived there for some time.
Caitlin was fun-loving, not scared of anything. She was outgoing. She loved people. She loved being around people. She did want to be a nurse, and she wanted a car, and she wanted to be independent.
My daughter, Caitlin, would have given her shirt off her back to another stranger, and she's literally done that before. In school, she was an all-star ball player and a cheerleader for Arcadia High.
So I saw a change in Caitlin when she was about 15. It's like she wanted to grow up too fast. And she always felt like she never had nothing or nobody.
She ended up dropping out of high school. She got involved with a few people that weren't so good for her to keep company with. So what happens is she kind of down spiraled. In 2014, I realized that Caitlin had a drug problem. She started with weed. Caitlin would smoke weed. She would drink alcohol. And then when she was closer to 18, that's when she got into the harsher drugs like cocaine. She was at a party and someone brought whatever. She was just like that person, like, hey, I'll try it. You know, so I do believe, you know, weed can be a gateway drug to other harsher drugs. Our family tried intervention with Caitlin several times. I would take her on just a mother and daughter day. I would take her to the water where I felt, you know, peace and it was quiet, and that it would just be me and her one-on-one. When I would speak to her, she'd cry out to me, and I'd ask her, how long has this been going on? How did it start? And again, she explained to me she'd sniff the perks. First she was taking them orally, and then she would sniff them, and then she became, you know, using the needles, injecting. So she was a full-blown heroin addict. Her body was fully dependent on it, and we could see the changes. You know, you could just see her physical changes in her body, you know, that we knew we had to do something, because we were literally watching her in front of our eyes just go from the Caitlin we knew to someone that my dad couldn't even recognize when she come in the house.
By the time Caitlin realized that she was playing Russian roulette with her life, it was too late. Her body was shutting down.
The day that I got the dreadful phone call on June 21st, Caitlin called me and says, what hospital should I go to, Mommy? And I said, what if you've had an overdose? You know, that's the first thing came to my mind. She said, something's terribly, terribly wrong. She had low oxygen, all her nutrients in her body, because when you're on heroin, you're not eating properly, you're not resting. You know, this is just eating you from the inside out. And she was so sick that they ended up having to put her on life support.
For 11 days, Caitlin laid in a coma until one day she showed signs of improvement. But unfortunately, she was never able to fully recover.
And my father, Gary, and my mother, Abby, all three of us on July 12, 2016, basically said and kissed her, "I see you later," kiss. And I didn't know that was going to be the last time that I was going to see my daughter. And I get the dreadful phone call July 13th of my sister screaming, you know, on the phone, and I couldn't really understand her, that Caitlin had coded her. And I was 5 minutes away, going about 120 on the highway, trying to make it there just so I could just tell her, I'm here for you and I love you. And I didn't get that chance to say goodbye.
Time has gone on, and it's been more than a year since Caitlin's passing, but the pain of her departure never really goes away.
I miss my daughter every day of my life. My life will never be the same without her.
I want everybody to know that you only have one life here on earth, and it's precious. And sometimes people have arguments and stuff like that, but like I said, let it go. Try to seek help for whatever problems you may need help in, whether it's finances, whatever your burdens might be. But don't turn to drugs. Just don't do it.
Caitlin did not know how deep she was getting into the mess that she got herself into. A lot of her so-called friends and the people that she kept around her were very bad influences. And in order to change, I remember telling her, you have to change people, places, and things. You have to want this. With all my heart, I know Caitlin wanted it, but she didn't get that second chance. And someone else may not get that second chance either. It could be your last day, one use, that's it, gone.
What if Caitlin had that second chance? Would her image be forever engraved on this tombstone? Unfortunately, we will never know the answer to that question. But we do know your tomorrow will be determined by the decisions you make today. Say no to drugs. It will be the best decision you'll ever make in your life.